Living your unstoppable dream. Living your unstoppable dream. Julian Kogan.
In 1992, an interstate highway was being constructed to bypass Corbin, Kentucky. The restaurant of the 60-year-old senior citizen was right in the path of the highway, and he was forced to sell. After settling his debts, he was flat broke. He thought to himself, you know, I've never been flat broke. I've never been without a job. What am I going to do? He became despondent and depressed. He remained that way for several months. And then one night he had a dream. He dreamed with his grandfather. He dreamed about the time that he used to visit his grandfather, and he used to sit on his grandfather's lap, and his grandpa would tell him wonderful stories about real life heroes. And his grandpa would always tell him, Harmon, with enough courage, faith, and perseverance, you can do whatever you want to do. And a few days later, he got an inspiration. He thought to himself, you know, when I had my restaurant, I remember folks used to drive from miles around to eat my fried chicken. It was good. As a matter of fact, it was better than good. Folks used to say it was finger licking. And you know, I've been watching those McDonald brothers. Boy, they sure made a lot of money in that franchising business. That sounds like a great idea. I think I'm going to do that. And with that, Colonel Sanders, at the age of 60, set out to follow his unstoppable dream. Do you have an unstoppable dream? Do you have a dream that inspires you? Do you have a dream that you tell yourself, oh, if I could only do that? Colonel Sanders, at the age of 60, went out in his car for the next 2 years to follow his unstoppable dream. Can you imagine, Jorge, if Colonel Sanders came up to you and said, Jorge, in this here bag, I've got a secret recipe of 11 herbs and spices. And I'll let you have it if you promise to pay me a percentage of every piece of chicken you sell. I'll franchise fee on top of that, and you'll be rich, Jorge! At first, Jorge thinks he's joking. Then he realizes he's serious. And Jorge responds, get out of here, you old fool. That's rejection. For the next 2 years, Colonel Sanders, at the age of 60, lived out of his car and visited restaurant owner after restaurant owner and got rejection after rejection until after 1,009 rejections, rejection finally surrendered to his unstoppable courage, faith, and perseverance. Do you have a dream? Do you have an unstoppable dream? Do you have a dream that inspires you? A dream that you tell yourself, oh, if I could only do that? And maybe, just maybe, you muster up enough courage and faith to follow your dream. But then something happens like it always does, and you find yourself flat on your face. And it's at that very moment of decision that you have to muster up all the courage and faith in your being and tell yourself, I can do this. Yes, I can. It was stories like Colonel Sanders that inspired me to live my unstoppable dream. Ever since I can remember, when I was a young man, I always dreamed of starting and owning my own business. And in 1992, at the height of the last Great Recession, I was laid off. With a family to feed and a mortgage to pay, I was flat on my face. And it was at that moment that I got an inspiration. I put everything I owned at risk and I started Excel Engineering. And for the next 18 years, I watched the company grow and prosper beyond my expectations. And in 2009, crash. I was watching my dream withering before my very eyes. I became despondent and depressed. And then I remembered the story of Colonel Sanders. And I remembered how at the age of 60, Colonel Sanders set out to live his unstoppable dream, and I wasn't 60 yet. And that inspired me out of the mire of desperation and self-doubt. Do you have a dream? Do you have an unstoppable dream? Do you realize that what your mind can conceive and believe you can achieve? Do you realize that what you think you can or cannot do, that what you think is possible or impossible, is rarely a function of your true capability? Rather, it is a function of what you believe about who you are. To dream your unstoppable dream, take courage. Consult not your fears, but your hopes and your dreams. Have faith. Think not about your frustrations, but about your unfulfilled potential. Persevere. Think not about what you tried and failed in, but with what there's still left for you to do. So in the words of Joe Darian, I challenge you. I challenge you to dare. I challenge you to dare to dream your unstoppable dream. To reach for your unreachable star. To try when your arms are too weary. For then you will be better for this. That though scorned and covered with scars, you dare to try with your last ounce of courage to reach for your unreachable star and live your unstoppable